Welcome aboard the L&N Caboose. This is where I used to make my living. This is called a cupola caboose because of the compartment upstairs. Now to your left here is a fuel tank that also doubles as a bunk. It fueled our stove where we cooked our food, warmed ourselves in the wintertime. This over here was a storage compartment which also doubled as a bunk. Now a lot of people don't know that on a railroad people shoot at caboose crews and train crews. Over here is a bullet hole, one of many, and back over this way is the cupola. This is where a cab crew sat. This mannequin represents where I was sitting when I came into Mobile about 11 o'clock at night, and they shot the window out in front of me. Sometime later I caught another train out of Mobile bound for New Orleans, and the gentleman sitting in this chair had been shot in the left arm with a .30-06 hunting rifle. Now, caboose crews look for signs of things going wrong by looking ahead and looking for excess dust flying out from underneath the train, sparks, and what looked like a bucket of paint burning. That would be the wheels. In that situation, we'd come to this closet, break out the equipment, ropes, wires, that sort of thing to get the repairs underway. If things were bad, we would take the chain and tow the car to a side track and notify the conductor on the caboose, which would fill out reports and then notify the dispatcher. On this side is our rain suits, and those are my actual rain boots. And we kept our lanterns here and other small things. And over this way is the conductor's locker. And this report is called a near-miss report. And if we fill that out, primarily it was for school buses. And we filled out 3 of them while I was out there. Once this report is filled out, the driver of the school bus loses his job. We kept in communication with the dispatcher and engineer crew by radio and by walkie-talkie. Now if anything happened to the head end crew and we couldn't contact them, we could stop the train by the red valve here. And once the train was stopped, we had to send someone to the front because the locomotives were still pulling, and we had to put them in neutral. Now here is the first bullet that came through the bathroom window, followed closely by its friend. And if you look inside, you'll see a very impressive impact crater.
Hey, it's important.
Now in the event the dispatcher told us to stay on the caboose overnight, we would take our baths in that sink. And this was our main water supply. There was no hot water on the caboose, strictly cold water. This is a refrigerator. This is where we kept our drinking water, sandwiches, and whatever else we could bring with us. These are some of the colors that we actually use. The white we put on a extra engine, like if you had a 405 and an extra 405, the extra 405 displayed 2 white flags on the locomotive and 2 white flags on the caboose. Now in the event we broke down and the brakeman could fix it, the flagman would take this flag and go a mile behind the train, and that way he could stop anybody from rear-ending the train. I've been on a caboose where from the draw head to just this side of the cupola was condensed down to about 6 to 8 feet. This blue flag is the most serious color we can come up on. If we're working in an industrial area and we find a blue light or a blue flag, we have to get special permission to take it down. If we don't, and nothing happens but they find out, it's 45 days on the streets. The yellow flag was held by the train crews and track gangs, and when we got up there they would flag us down and we would proceed at restricted speed, prepared to stop within half the vision of human sight. And one night we were delivering grain to Pascagoula, and I was holding on to this yellow rail, and the engineer took all the slack out of the train with such force that my legs came completely off the ground. And if I hadn't been holding on to that railing, I would have gone out the back door at 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
We got those once or twice a month, and this particular one is the same kind of caboose we're on now. The smokestack's on the same side, and he's getting off on the walkway side. And back in those days, people don't know it, but if you worked on the railroad, you had to have a watch that had at least 21 jewels inside of it.
Here's the passenger car we're trying to get over here. This is one of the passenger cars if the mayor ever allows it. We're trying to get a couple. This is basically what they used.
And the caboose is also known as an office and a rolling apartment.
A rolling apartment, that's good.
Now on the conductor's table there's one of my original trip cards.
Which one's your original trip?
The one right there with my name on it.
I don't think I can zoom in on that. Really good with this one.
Well,
got your cab report.
Well, these are conductors and flagman's grip. Suitcases and bags were not known as bags and suitcases, they were known as grips. And that's my soulmate, my wife of 25 years. And that's my original lantern that I used out there. My original timetable and rule books. The original Bible I carried. And this is United Transportation Union News. All union employees get this newspaper. And that's the latest edition. One day we were going to New Orleans, and we were told by the engineer crew that some children was looking to train over. So we got some crew packs and other things ready to toss out to them. And when we got to them, I could see them all waving in a little group. As we got close to them and I got ready to toss out the crew packs with all our stuff in them, the kids in the front dropped down and the kid behind them rose up with a compound bow already drawn and tried to zero in on us and let it go.
What happened at that point?
It missed the caboose completely, but it just lets you know just how serious train work is. Not only is it dangerous around the equipment, but it's dangerous for people out there who want to knock you out of the saddle.
Yes, and we can see that from here between that bullet hole and the big one over there. Once again, this bullet hole down here, you can tell it put a dent in that. That is not a little .22 rifle or anything. That's a high-powered gun right there. That's no little thing. This is all what crews had to deal with, though. This is life. But how was working on the railroad? You worked on the L&N and the crappy CSX. How was it?
Well, the L&N Railroad was more of a family-orientated thing. The officials and train crews got along a lot better. You actually look forward to going to work with the L&N. When the CSX took over, all the officials were pretty much job scared. They were trying to justify their jobs, so they started harassing the L&N employees. And then we found out years later that there was a standing rule to try to run off as many L&N employees as they could, because they were going to be paid more than the people coming in behind them. Because I was out there, say, running from Mobile to Theodore, Alabama, making $50,000 a year. Guy coming in who pays $4,000 to $5,000 to be taught how to be a trainman. He was going to be doing the same identical thing, probably in the upper 30s and low 40s. So
that's how CSX works, and
yeah, that's why we got a nickname for the CSX, Chicken Express. So anyway, that's the life on a caboose.
Okie dokie, now we gotta lock this thing up. Now these keys are always kind of... Always test your locks. I'm Trainman Kite.
The L&N don't stop here anymore, and the whistle of the engine's just an echo in the wind. And that old pot-bellied stove ain't smoked a log in 10 Decembers, and a memory's the railroad's next of kin. If you close your eyes, you just might hear the sound of a faraway conductor crying people all aboard. And that water tank that fills still the train sure looks mighty thirsty, 'cause the L&N don't stop here anymore. And the whistle stops and loading docks are nearly all deserted, and the railroad people all have moved away. There's a ghost town feeling once where there were sounds of noise and laughter, but like cowboy heroes now they've gone away. The fancy depot down in Clarksville was the rage, but it gave way to time and cobwebs, and there's a sign tacked on the door. This railroad town is now closed down, you'll have to go to Jackson, 'cause the L&N don't stop here anymore.